Hello, hello, welcome to Sunday morning comic chat. Yes, this is all natural lighting here. I open one of the window right here, turn off all the lights. It was brighter. The sun was out just a few minutes ago, and then all of a sudden it get a little bit cloudy. But I think the lighting is okay. So welcome to Sunday comic investment chat. Um, I don't expect a lot of people to be up and joining me for the chat this week, but I am going to record this to put it on my podcast. So before I do that, let me make sure that aha, see, as always, I have to double check to make sure that I have my recording on. So now it's on. So yes, welcome to the Sunday Comic Investment Chat. Um, it will be on a podcast channel later. For those that subscribe to my podcast channel, you should get a notification whenever I load the podcast. But anyhow, welcome. It's Sunday, December 12th, 2018. Yes, the first Sunday. We are in December already. Yes, indeed. I have my coffee ready. Welcome to the one person in the chat room, my escape world. Thank you for joining me. Um, Going forward, I will probably talk about investing in the Sunday chat. It's not going to happen every week. It's in my Sunday chat. It might be every other week. Good as go. Hello. So the topic will be mainly focused on that. And uh, before we go on to investing talk about comic books, the big news this past few days is, of course, Netflix canceling Daredevil. I saw a lot of YouTube videos of people being surprised and disappointed. But is it a surprise? Is it a surprise? Why is it a surprise? Disney is launching a competing streaming network next year. Why would Netflix spend money with Disney to see that property? You know, if Netflix decide to spend the money for season 4 of Daredevil, and the return ultimately is about return on investment. Okay, this is why it's fitting to be in this video. Is that, you know, let's assume that it costs 50 to 60 million dollars to buy 13 episodes from Disney. What if the return is better if Netflix used that money to make their own series, whatever it is, Stranger Things season 5, whatever it is? The return on investment obviously is less. That's why they decided to cut tie with Daredevil regardless of what we all think of season 3. Okay? And the same thing with Punisher season 2. Don't be shocked if Netflix come out right after season 2 launch and said we are canceling the Punisher as well. That's life. Should not be shocked, should not be surprised, but you will see when and if the news come out next year that Punisher series are canceled after season 2. There will be a whole bunch of YouTube channel saying, "Oh my God, how can they do this?" It's business. My escape world, I do not think Disney will continue with any of the series from Netflix should they get all canceled. I think I think they will recast every single characters. Should they um, relaunch, reboot, reintroduce those characters in movies or their own TV shows on their own streaming network? My belief is this is the end of all of those actors playing those roles, which is a shame because I think Cox is a fantastic actor for Daredevil. I think Bernthal is a fantastic actor for The Punisher. It would be a shame to lose those two actors. The rest, no, I don't miss any of the rest of the characters as far as Netflix shows. No, Claire, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, bye bye. It could be good as gold. He said that Netflix series are too dark for Disney. It could be. Um, I don't know where Disney will go with that. Certainly there is camps out there that say that Disney brand is too family um, oriented. That's why it's not gonna have dark shows. And you can have those characters in shows that are not dark, just like they introduced Ghost Rider in ABC Agent of Shield. You can have characters in TV shows that are not dark or too violent. Hello, Blade Runner. Hello, Joker 68. Cougar Comic is here as well. Monk's Den, my goodness, bunch of people that normally I don't see on my Wednesday night chat. As a reminder for those that just joined me, this is recorded to be on the podcast later. So should you not able to listen to the full 1 hour show, check out my podcast channel and you can listen to it like on radio. Um, Anyhow, back to comic investing. One of the trend that we see this past year that's more noticeable is uh, horror is catching another wave. Okay, to me, the horror genre never really go out of style. There are big boom moment in horror, pre-code horror, EC horror, even Bronx horror, where Bodie Wrightson and Neil Adams covers. There are big period of boom, and then there are kind of like a niche kind of collecting, but they never really go out of style. But for sure, I think what we see a lot this past year is a big surge. Part of it was the death of Bernie Wrightson last year. The death of Bernie Wrightson voted voted um, those DC Bronx horror book, especially House of Secret 92 and Swamp Thing #1. Um, they kind of push those titles back into the limelight, but it's not a widespread like, oh my god, Swamp Thing issue 2 or 3 or 4. It's Swamp Thing #1. It's House of Secret 92. It's not House of Secret 91 or 90. Okay, it's not. This is not uh, uh, an area where rising tide lift all boats. It is limited to a few, and that's where the hobby has been heading for all the other genre for a long time. Okay, we have been talking to death about how keys keys collecting had been the focus for the past many years, and that won't change. I I don't think um, the trend of people going back and be completists is going to catch fire anytime soon or ever again. I think more and more people are entering the hobby, more and more newer collectors and investors and speculators are focused on keys. Why? The profit, the investment return. Okay, the ROI is other people talk about. If there's a romantic aspect of this hobby where some people hung on to the hobby with some kind of romantic view, like it's fun, it's nostalgia. It There's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that belief. But there is also no disputing that more and more focus are put on the profit, the potential investment return of the books. If that was not the case, keys would not be going up so much faster beyond the widest imagination of many of us that have been in this hobby for years and decades. And non keys are languishing, forgotten for the most part. Okay, I have been saying this for years now, that if you are a completist, now is as good of ever to go out there and buy non-key books, silver or bronze or whatever. They are dirt cheap because most money are chasing after keys. Just look at um, YouTube. YouTube community is a decent reflection of the hobby. I'm sure people will agree that, not that I am on Instagram or Facebook, so I'm not really, pay attention to those two social media platform, but I'm pretty certain that the trend is very similar to YouTube when it comes to Instagram or Facebook, because more attention are paid toward keys, more fo- it's everything. Focus, attention, money, everything are thrown toward keys. You don't, you know, Even younger collector, newer collector that just entered this hobby are just, you know, they jump right into, like, I want a Hook 181. I want an Amazing Fantasy 15. For somebody like me who has been in the hobby since 1981, I didn't own a Hook 181 until 2010. Yeah, I didn't own an Amazing Fantasy 15 until 2008. Okay, there's you're talking, 20 years. So, it was not something that I need to have right away so that I can be with the Jones. But everything changed these days with social media. Everybody need to be up, competing. Dave0126 agree. Non-key books price haven't changed much in 10 years. Absolutely. When I returned to the hobby in 2008, I was still pretty much a completist, and I try. I mean, I still do. I still am. There are 3 runs of books that I'm near complete. Well, not complete run, but I wanted to complete a run of X-Men from 1 to 143. Done that. I wanted to have a run of Spider-Man from 1 to 129. Done that. I want a run of Fantastic Four from 1 to 102. Not yet complete. So That was a goal many, many years ago. It was a goal in 2008, and it's still a goal today. But for the most part, you don't hear a lot of collectors out there say, "Oh, I want to have a run of Fantastic Four." There are. I'm not saying that there are no run collectors out there, but the loudest, predominant voice of this hobby is in keys collecting. Uh, Good as Gold said you can buy non-key Silver Age Batman slab for the price of getting book slab. Absolutely. Silver Age Batman is very affordable because they are so plentiful, especially the years that have the TV show. Literally, those books was printed in the 800 to a million print run. It was insane. Okay, insane. They printed a ton of those books. It's nothing rare about those books. Okay, prior to the TV shows, the print run was pretty decent as well. You're talking 500,000 or so, if not better. But it's not as if it's like a million. It was like in the million, not like 2 or 3 million, but it was around a million, I think. It's been a while since I looked at the data, but I believe the print run for those TV show years was just insane, like in the 600 to 800,000 to a million. There are so many copies of those books around. Uh, Mid Midgard Serpent 63 asked, which titles do you consider recession proof? I would say there is no title that are recession proof. Okay. I'm not, I equate the stock market with the housing market as well as this hobby. There are a lot of similarities. And when it comes to any investment, surely there are things that will go down less than others. Okay, like when the stock market crashed in 2008, 2009, surely some stock dropped 80%, some stock dropped 10%, some stock dropped 40%, but for the most part, everything dropped. Okay, housing market, when the housing market crashed, with the exception of like San Francisco, New York City, where you're talking about highly desirable properties, some of the most desirable properties in the US, if not the world. Well, guess what? Desirability, demand held up those markets. So when it comes down to comic books, I believe if if and when we have a recession in the hobby, it will impact just about everything. But a few books will likely hold the value more and lost less, like Action 1, Detective 27. Because ultimately, what drive down the price? More people are selling and less buyer, right? Supplies and demand. Here we go again with the supplies and demand. You can't talk about investing without supplies and demand. So, when it come down to, big books like the Action 1, the Detective 27, I'm not sure I can throw in the Amazing Fantasy 15 in the same breath because the people that own the Action 1, the Detective 27, they are less likely to get panicked and forced to sell those books in a hobby recession. So it's not going to create like a flood of Action 1 or Detective 27 in the market that will drive down the prices. So those two books I think are more likely to be have less. I won't use the word recession proof, but they are likely to have less impact than Amazing Fantasy 15. Amazing Fantasy 15 are plentiful, but we also know it at the price range where a lot of people borrow money to buy those books. Okay. I don't know that many Action One collectors or owners, but I care to bet that most of them didn't go out there and borrow money to buy an Action One. But a lot of people probably borrow money, use credit cards, home equity loans to buy Amazing Fantasy 15. So when bad time come, when and if they may be forced to sell. So as with anything, when there is a forced to sell kind of situation, there will be decline in prices. How much? I cannot say. But if you look at Amazing Fantasy 15 prices in 2008, 2009, certainly there was a dip. Not a big one. You're talking 5 to 10% dip in the prices of many Silver Age keys, which is not bad. Consider the housing market in general dropped 30 to 40 to 50%. The stock market dropped almost 40%. So for big books to drop 5 or 10% in those 2 years, it's a big win. Luther's here. Alex, the comic hoarder, is here as well. Betty, 33, hello. John, Dr. Vanchilla is here. Yes. Well, welcome everybody. Oh, Betty, 33 from the UK. Morning from the UK. Did you see the Marvel Superheroes 13 on the current comic link that went for 31,000? Yes, I did. I'm not sure. I shot the comic link auction recap yesterday. I plan to load that probably tomorrow. I don't remember if I put that in the recap. I might have because it's such a big crazy prices that I normally won't exclude. I try to exclude the cool books, but also the crazy prices. So I can't remember. That's what happened when you get this old. At 52, my memory is just horrid, horrid. I can't. It's be shocking if I can talk to myself in my 20s or 30s that things that I did yesterday, I can't remember. Yes, Alex, the comic hoarder. If you or I re-enter the hobby in 2008, so I was intimately participating in the market in those years, and I was heavily into buying keys in 2008 and 2009. Heavily, I went back into the hobby with both guns blazing. So I know, I was buying Amazing Fantasy 15 at bargains. 5-10% below GPA bargains. So Dr. Vanchilla said that he's going to buy a webcam. Doc, I saw your live chat 2 days ago. What webcam were you using? Because look, I thought you got a new one when I saw you on that live chat 2 days ago. I saw after the live chat on Rewind, but um, correct, Dr. Vanchilla. He agreed with me. Indeed, today's buy of Action One are not scrimping. and saving for the book. They can buy the book whenever they feel like it. It only take a phone call. Absolutely. You know, and on the opposite end, you have people scrimping, saving, borrowing to buy X-Men 1, to buy Amazing Fantasy 15, to buy Fantastic Four number 1. Those are the situation where you can see bigger decline should there is a recession. Okay, that's, I'm not a big fan of borrowing money for anything. So you know, I'm sure many people go through lives using credit card, borrowing for many things. I don't do that. I don't do that. I try to avoid that even in my young early days of being broke. I don't like to borrow money. So that philosophy has stayed with me forever. Forever. The first car I bought was $1,000. And I have bought every car I own has been used car. Every car I own has been used car that's paid with cash. I do not borrow. So that's just a philosophy. So I have seen many people get into big trouble because they borrow money when times are good, when jobs are good, when economy is good. Nothing can be bad. You can borrow all you want, but all it takes is one layoff and you can get yourself into a huge hole. And I can't say enough about how much I dislike um, borrowing. Patrick, there's a question for Patrick in the chat that when are you gonna start making video again? Um, Patrick replies, soon. My house projects are nearly complete. So he does have some CGC orders that he will be getting back, and I'm sure many people enjoy Patrick uh, videos on CGC unboxing. Joker68 say, if there is another big recession, as in 2008, 2009, and if you have money, that's the time to buy. Absolutely. I cannot, I cannot stress enough that just as in the stock market or the housing market, when things are on fire, sales, that's when you are buying. Okay? Chasing up at all-time high is not a prudent way to invest in anything. Gosh, there is nothing worse than seeing somebody put money into something when it is at the all-time high. When something is at the all-time high, can it go higher? Absolutely. Absolutely. Nobody is saying that when something at the all-time high, the only direction is down. I'm not saying that at all. Okay? But if you are buying something at the all-time high, you better have the patience to wait out should that thing dip and waver in the next few years. The direction of the stock market is up, right? If you look at the stock market over the past 50 years, it's up. But within that uptrend, there are plenty of 5%, 10%, 30% dropped. Plenty. So the question is, do you have the stomach to ride out that storm? So if you don't have the stomach to ride out the storm when it happened, do not buy at the all-time high. Whether it's comic books, stocks, or house, You just cannot. Same thing that applies with almost everything. A lot of people that buy at the all-time high, my advice is, if you buy something at the all-time high, you better plan for a long-term hold. You better. There is no such thing as, I just bought something at the all-time high and I'm going to flip that 10% higher next week. You might get lucky. You might get lucky. But luck is not a formula or recipe for long-term success. Okay, that's not how you play the game of investing. Investing is about patience, timing, and long-term. Okay, I can't stress enough that it's cringeworthy to see people chase something at all-time high with the expectation of fast return. Okay, let me repeat. If you buy something at the all-time high and have the stomach and the goal, long-term goal of 5, 10 years down the road, nothing wrong with that. But don't freak out if something go bad next year, because it can. Don't buy a book at the all-time high and then get all upset when the next sales is lower than what you paid for. Absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid if you feel depressed if you bought something and then the very next sales or 3 months from now, another sales of a similar equivalent book is lower than what you paid for. That's comic books. Okay. Just like when I buy a stock, do I freak out or get all depressed because the next minute or the next hour the stock went low and I could have bought it even cheaper? If that's how you approach stock trading, stock investing, or comic investing, whew, you're in for a short stint, because you would leave this hobby very quickly frustrated. Okay, because that's not the right mental mindset to approach this hobby, especially when you're dealing with big money. Midgard Serpent 63 asks, what's my thoughts on gold and silver? As with anything, as with anything, there are good time to buy and bad time to buy. Okay, gold is at the low point. From my short-term memory, I believe gold is in the short term. Um, it's not. Would I buy gold right now? No. Would I buy silver right now? No. There are, you know, when it comes down to me, investing is about finding opportunities that give me the biggest bang of return. Okay. Right now, the stock market is very interesting for me. Okay. The stock market, for those that follow economy and politics, the stock market could go through a very interesting December. So, as a trader, I'm focusing squarely this weekend and for the next 30 days in the stock market as far as potential return. Okay, so we'll see what's going to happen, but I think the biggest bang of return is going to be in the stock market in the next 30 days. As far as gold and silver, I tend not to like to play with gold and silver. If I deal with gold and silver, it's more on the ETF methods, like the GLD, the SLV. I don't deal with buying. I don't stack coins. I'm not in the business of buying a bunch of coins to stack it. No, no. I'd rather stack poker chips. That's more fun than stacking silver coins. Let me be right back in a few seconds. I just had to do something in 30 seconds. Get up, brush your teeth, and then milk, and when it's 9:30, you apple. Okay? I'm back. My son just woke up. I heard him waking up next door, so I just want to have a little chat with him as far as what he need to get done this morning. So yeah, Thomas Churchill, hello. Um, Good as Gold said, I bought my first house in 2008 and still paying for that mistake. Yes, a lot of people. Um, I would say that it's a wash. I'm kind of an even Steven kind of person most of my life. I bought a house down here in 2004. Okay, for those that follow my life here, and I was very worried about the housing market in 2005, 2006. I was very worried. I foresee the doom that was coming. So I bought a pretty crappy house. And then when the house market crashed, I was able to swap into this house. I bought this house right now in 2010 and then sold the house I bought in 2004. 2 years later, in 2013, I sold that house. So net, I think I did okay. Certainly, whatever I lost in that house, the previous house, I have recouped with this house. So I can't complain. But yeah, I mean, timing is everything. Okay, when it comes down to investing, whether it's stock market, gold, silver, comic books, it's always about timing and patience. You hear me talk about patience a million times on my channel, and it never pay to be impulsive and to act on impulse and to be rash. Got to have something. I got to have something. Oh my God, please don't. I can't advise enough. But I know many people cannot stop themselves. Okay, they cannot stop themselves from buying something because they got to have it. Excuse me. I just look at the clock. It's 9:08. So in 22 minutes, the chat will be over. Dave 0126. Correct, Dave. That's why I talk about how the next 30 days could be very interesting. That's where the big opportunity is. Okay. I foresee big opportunities in the stock market. By big, I'm talking potentially 5%, 10% return. Yeah, that's great. Okay, for those that did not follow the stock market was up around 11% until last month when it dropped all the way down. The market dropped 8% or so in the past few weeks. It's barely up 3% year to date. Okay, so can the stock market rip raw 5-10% from here by Christmas? Very possible. Very possible. As I talk and discuss about this many times before, whenever people ask me, what else do you collect beside comic books? My reply has always been the same. I collect money. Yes, money. A lot of people will say, oh, comic book is so much more fun. You know what's more fun? Making profit and then use the profit to buy comic books. how obnoxious can that be, right? Yeah, I'm sure that statement right there just offended a whole lot of people. Yes, I like money more than comics because it's more fun to make money, to make profit, and then buy comics with the profit. No, I play with the house money. I like to play with the house money. Yes, I'm a gambling man. and I rather play with the house money and not worry about should a comic book go down. It doesn't matter. I bought it with profit, not a big deal. So going forward, instead of making monthly or weekly videos of the investment talk, I figure I will have the live chat once or twice a month and talk about and focus the talk on investing because it's easier. It's easier. It's more impromptu. Also, it give me a chance to answer direct questions if there is direct questions regarding investment. What I try to do in the past and what I still focus on in the future is that not focus on specific book. When it comes to um, when it comes to investing topic of this hobby, there are plenty of channels out there on a daily basis telling you what to buy, what to invest, what to speculate. I have zero desire to do that. I have nothing more to add to that. So, if you're looking for that kind of information, this is not the place. Okay. Don't listen to this chat or podcast or this live chat. There is absolutely nothing, nothing here like that. Okay. I will not sit here and say the top 5 books to buy this week. No. So my investment comic talk will most likely be on the broader, just like today, for those that have been around for the past 40 minutes. Yes, it's on a broader picture. It's not going to be specific books because really it's not my interest in talking about any specific books. Yes, Patrick, no hot buys alert. There are plenty of channels that will give you hot buys, top picks, must buy, must own. Speaking of that, I joke about making a series in 2019 for must sell. I might do that because a lot of people talk about must buy, must own, must speculate, but nobody talk about must sell. Why is that? The fundamental rule of investing is what? Profit. If you buy something and you don't sell it and you hold it to see it go down, what's the point? Shame? Where are the shame videos? Where are the darn it, I bought this at the all-time high. I bought X Factor number 5, first apocalypse, and now it's worth 80% less. Where are those videos? Where are those? Oh, I'm a dummy videos. Uh, it's I like to see those videos like, darn it, I screwed up. I'm the dumbass. Okay. We need to see more of those because you all know there are plenty of those out there, but usually those people kind of disappear from YouTube in angers because they got pissed off at the hobby and then they left. And that's a damn shame. Okay. It's a damn shame because the hobby is supposed to be fun. If you're in it to make money and then you end up losing money, I can see why you would be disenchanted with the hobby and left. But yeah, it's there must be a series. Must sell now. Okay, sell, as I call it. It because you hear that all the time. Buy, buy, buy. Where are the sell, sell, sell? Certainly, if you watch my channel, you have heard me talking about what's a good time to sell something, right? Like hold on to the books until the trailer or as soon as the movie premiere. There are plenty of time where I mention good time to sell. But if I was to do a series on sell, 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 it would be on books that has, you know, are crashing and have more room to crash. And you better off let go now or hold on to it until it go down to $2 or a dollar bin, because a lot of hot books alerts are heading there. Oh, I'm sure what I just said is offensive to a lot of speculators out there, because how dare you talk down to us? Why don't you apologize to people that you screwed over by recommending shits? Yeah, I don't see, I don't ever see anybody own up to their mistakes, all right? When I recommend a stock to people and it's do badly, I feel bad. Okay, that's why I don't recommend stock to people, because I rather not hear people whining and crying to me when the investment go bad. You know why? Because when an investment go well, people tend not to come back to me and say, Nick, thank you so much. You made me so much money. I rarely hear that compliment. But the moment that a stock goes south, Nick, what happened? Why is it down? You don't talk to me, you don't call me, you don't email me when the stock is up. But the occasion that it go down, you freak out and piss you off. Ridiculous. Okay, so the same thing with comic books. There's a lot of channels that talk about hot books to buy, but how many channels revisit what they recommend? How many? Does any channel go back and revisit what they recommend 2 years ago? I would like to see that, to see how many people own up to being wrong. Yeah, there's no accountability in shit talking. Oh, so much offensive talking today. I don't play nice. Sorry. Um, but really, at the end of the day, I try to approach this hobby with sensible mindset. Is that, it's some books you buy to flip, some books you buy to invest for the long term, and try not to fall in love with the book so much that you can't let go. That's one of the hardest thing for many people, that can't let go of something because it go up so much, it can only go higher. That's like the worst thing that you can say to yourself. Okay, I understand there are books that you can sell or may have sold that keep on going higher and then you regret it. It happens. It happened to all of us. Okay. It happened to all of us. Anybody that buy and sell, especially those that like me who buy and sell often, this happened all the time. You see, you see, I sold a book and then see it go another 50% higher. I don't really regret it. You know why? Because I put the money back into another books that done just as well or better. Who am I to sit there and cry about, oh, gee, I lost out on making more money, right? It's not. Um, Here's a perfect example. Before I go, I got another 9 minutes to go. Perfect example. I sold three copies of House of Secret 92 last year. 3 copies. Late last year, early this year, 3 copies. I could have easily get 50% more if I sell those books today. Okay? Easily sell those 3 books today and make 50% more on those books, if not even more than 50%. But guess what? The money for those three books went into buying the X-Men and Spider-Man Silver Age collection. And for those that follow the value or the prices of X-Men 1 and Spider-Man 1 and all those early books, guess what? They have done fantastic. So guess what? I didn't lose out on anything. It's a win-win. Okay, so I don't, whenever I sell something, as in what I do in the stock market, when you sell something, you make profit on it, you move on. You put that money back into either the stock market or the hobby, into comic books, and you buy something again and flip it again. So it's a constant process where you don't sit there and dwell on like, gee, if I hold on to this for another month, another 6 weeks, another 8 months, I would make no. That's if that was the way you think, you would go crazy in this hobby. You would go absolutely bonkers in this hobby, thinking on what could have, shoulda, coulda, woulda. It hindsight thinking, regrets are not a formula for success. Trust me, it's not. Blade Runner said that is my challenge. What is the challenge, Blade Runner? What is the challenge you're talking about? About selling or let go? That is hard. I can, um, if that is a challenge that you're talking about, I can't understand that because it's not easy. Trust me, when I sold my first few books back in 2009, 2010, it was not easy for lifelong collectors. You know, you just don't see the end of the tunnel. You don't see the end of the cycle. You just like selling that is like unheard of. That's like what? Yeah, it's a huge challenge. It's a huge hurdle to jump over. Okay, and that's probably the toughest hurdle for many collectors. It's tougher than chasing hot books. It's tougher than anything else because when it comes down to it, a lot of people just cannot sell. They cannot sell. They have seller remorse. They have seller regrets. They have too much going in this psyche that prevent them to do the the that go through the process to sell something and move on. And so I understand. Blade Runner said yes, holding on too long. We all, if you trade stocks or invest in a stock market, you have seen it happen times and times again. You hold on for something too long, miss out on, you know, when you hold on for something, you're thinking that you don't want to miss out on further gain. And then you end up missing out on selling it when it dropped below later. It's happened times and times again. Um, that's why discipline is probably paramount to stock trading and comic flipping. Okay, it's paramount. You got to have set rule. You buy something with the intention to flip it, you flip it. You don't sit there and say, maybe it will go higher. If I buy a book that is worth $1,000, if I buy it for 500, I better slab it and sell it. It's not about holding on to it and then see, oh, this book will go up even more if I hold on to it for a few years. I might not sell it right away. Okay, I'm not saying that I flip it instantly. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that if I buy a book with the intention to flip, most likely I will slab it, especially if it's a high value book, something over $300. And then I might hold on to it for 3 weeks, 3 months. If the movie For example, if Captain Marvel movie is not going to be out for another few months, what's the rush? What's the rush, right? Sure, I can put the books out in the market right now with a high asking price and then see what happens. There are still weeks and months away. There is no rush. So, but ultimately, it is, Marvel superheroes, that book with Captain Marvel. There's no way I'm keeping those two copies. Absolutely no way I'm keeping those two copies. They are to be out, gone by the time the movie is out. Good as gold say pigs get slaughtered. Absolutely. I think that's one saying that is very common with anyone that participating in the stock market. Pigs get slaughtered. You just can't be too greedy. Take the profit and move on. If you buy something and you hold on to it to the grave, if that's what makes you happy, that's a different story. Okay. But if that's the case, then does it matter if the book is worth X dollar for those that buy and hold forever? What does it matter if the book is worth $10 or $10,000? Does it? Does it put more money into your? Does it put more food on the table? No. Does it buy you more days to live? No, right? Because you're not selling it. So value have little meaning for the buy and hold crowd. Many people would disagree with me, but that's how my view is. Everything have a value, and the value means something if you sell it to use the value. If you don't use the value, what does it buy? I don't get it. I don't get what it give you if sit in the closet. If you need money for health care, for food, for living, then by all means, I would say sell the damn books to enjoy life. Okay, living in squalor for the sake of having the books make little sense to me. But I'm sure some people out there are doing that. They would rather live in squalor, eat ramens, eat cheap, live cheap, so that they can have more books. Okay, there are plenty of people like that. I'm not saying that I understand that's how they live, but it is what it is. Anyhow, I just look at the time. I got 2 more minutes left. Thank you for everyone that joined me for this Sunday comic investing chat. Hopefully, it was enjoyable and fun. My coffee is cold. I've been talking too much and not taking advantage. Oh, actually, it's still warm, so it's not disgusting yet. It needs to be heat up to enjoy. Um, let's see. Dr. Van Schiller said, I am guilty of selling too soon. We all been there, Doc. Anyone that sold books in this hobby has said the same thing. Okay. I sold too soon on many books, but that's okay. As I mentioned, it's okay. Flipping and investing are two entirely different things to me. As Dr. Van Schiller said, yes, it's about the time frame. For me, flipping and investing is mostly about the time frame. When you buy something with the intention to flip it quickly to get a profit, it could be weeks, days, or months. I wouldn't call something a flip if it's over 6 months. It's better to use the money for something else if it was, buying something to flip and then hold on to it for 6 months or longer. But to me, the difference is mostly in the time frame, because when you invest in something, it's usually for longer than 6 weeks. Certainly with the stock market, that's better be the case, right? If you buy something as an investment, it better be not for 6 days or 6 weeks. It better be 6 months or longer, because a lot can happen in 6 days or 6 weeks. Just like the stock market. Look at what the US stock market did in the past 6 weeks, from 11% up 11% for the year to only up 3% for the year. At one point, it was almost flat. It only bounced back 3% this past week because of the potential good news with Trump working out a trade agreement with China. That's why the stock market snapped back in Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 3%. Otherwise, we would have looking at a flat year to date, down 11% for the year over the past 6 weeks. Yeah, a lot of ugly things can happen in 6 weeks. Can't You cannot buy something for investing with a time horizon less than 6 months. Anyhow, it's 9:31. 1 hour is up. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy your Sunday and watch some football. Bye bye.